Hi, it's Mark from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with Mr. Bernie Pawlik, the famous Bernie Pawlik of Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, 16-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver. How are you doing today, Bernie?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I'm good. So we're going to talk about a BMW X5. It had a coolant problem. What was that?
Well, the owner of the vehicle called us and said he had a coolant. He had some antifreeze or some greenish colored liquid dripping in his driveway, so he wanted us to have a look at the vehicle. So we brought the vehicle in and had a look at it.
So what was the concerns with the leak?
Well, basically, so what we found, we put the vehicle up on the hoist. There's a number of, being a BMW, there's a number of covers underneath the engine area. So we removed the covers, had a look, and didn't find anything, which was surprising. We put our pressure tester on, had it on for about 10 minutes, and our expectation was, there'd be something dripping out quite quickly, and oh, there it is, and that's what it needs. But after half an hour, there's nothing under there, and we're almost about to give it up and say, hey, there's obviously whatever is leaking is so minimal. We don't need to worry about it because his coolant level is actually full. He said he put a small amount of antifreeze in, but very, very minimal. So figured, well, maybe it's too small to deal with for now. But we looked further and found there was actually some dripping right at the very back of the engine, but it was really, really small amount. So from that point, everything's hidden under this BMW. We had to look quite a bit further.
So where was the leak actually coming from?
Well, eventually we found the leak coming from the valley pan, and I'm going to show you some pictures here. Now, the valley pan is it's a V8 engine, so the valley pan sits in the center of the engine, and this is a screenshot view. This is a view actually with the intake manifold of the engine removed. So we're looking on your right and left side. You can see a sort of cylindrical silver object, more noticeable on the right side. Those are the two cylinder banks where the cylinder heads are located. So the valley pan sits in between the two heads. And on a BMW V8, there's a pan, which the yellow arrow points to. This valley pan has a gasket around it, and that's full of coolant underneath. The red arrow points to actually where the leak was located. And here's a close-up view, sort of where that red arrow, if I'll just go back here, this is the red arrow. And this is a close-up view of that area. And you can see a bluish colored, below a bolt on the sort of center of the picture, there's a bluish colored, looks like crystals or liquid, but that's where the coolant leak was coming from. It was seeping down the back of the engine and seeping around the front of the engine sometimes, but it takes the leak was very small at this point, so it took a long time for the coolant to build up and then seep over the sides of the vehicle. Yeah, so that's basically where we found the leak coming from. Just to put things into perspective, this is what the engine looks like with everything intact. And that red arrow I've got there points to the intake manifold, which is a very large plastic object that must be removed before we could even find out where the leak was coming from. On top of it, the air filter are sitting the air filter boxes. So there's a lot to remove here just to get at the leak. And we weren't quite certain where the leak was coming from until we removed the intake manifold, because there are coolant pipes. I'll go back a couple of pictures here. There are pipes that run across the top of that valley pan. There's where the green arrows are pointing at the bottom of the picture. Those point to the different pipes. There's a coolant pipe. So these can also have leakage. There's O-rings and seals at either end, and those can also cause leakage too. So in this case, it's a matter of dismantling before we could actually find the leaks.
So it was a big job to find it. Was it a big job to actually fix it?
Well, once we actually found the leak, it wasn't so much of a job, because probably about 2/3 of the job is to remove the intake manifold and reinstall it. So from that point, we removed the valley pan and changed the seals on that. There was a small diameter pipe there. That's the heater pipe. We changed the O-ring seal for that. And there's a pipe at the front. We changed that pipe. It actually all comes as one piece. So we changed those and then put everything back together. So it's a fairly labor-intensive job, but it's better than it used to be. The older BMW 4-liter V8s had a valley pan as well, but it had about twice as many bolts. It was much larger and had a number of pipes going across it. And they've actually improved the design of this, although it's still obviously not perfect because it leaked. It's an improvement over the past.
So any other further thoughts on coolant leaks on this vehicle?
Not much really. I mean, obviously the valley pans are issues. The water pumps on BMWs are problematic over time. I mean, this one, the kilometers are fairly low in this vehicle. The water pump was good and everything else was good. So typical to BMW, they use a lot of plastic components in their cooling system, so they do fail, but that usually happens when the vehicle gets older. This one's a 2007, so it's still not that old. Given another 10 years, there'll probably be some plastic hoses and bits and pieces breaking, but for the time being, it's good. And it's nice, this 4.8 liter engine is definitely redesigned. It's an improvement over the previous generation of 4 and 4.4 liters.
So if you're looking for service for your X5, for your BMW products, the guys to go see is Pawlik Automotive. I got Bernie and Pawlik mixed up there. Give Bernie a call to book your appointment at 604-327-7112 in Vancouver, or check out their website, pawlikautomotive.com. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark.